Please subscribe. The Ducati Hypermotard 950 SP is somewhat of an abnormal cruiser. It's too upstanding to possibly be a sport bike and too tall to ever be a stripped bicycle, and its wheels are too little to ever be valuable on the soil. Its motor is too groundbreaking to be in any way a supermoto, and the 950 SP model expenses around $17,000, so it's not actually modest, either. What is it at that point? It's terrible conduct. It's a speeding ticket in bicycle structure. It's squares, long wheelies and misguided burnouts. It's been savagely designed to be as rambunctious and however much fun as could be expected, and at this, the people in Bologna have really exceeded expectations. To begin, the Hypermotard 950 SP has a major, 937cc, fluid-cooled, twin-chamber motor that produces 114 drive at 9,000 revolutions per minute and 71 pound-feet of torque at 7,250 revolutions per minute. That is conventional force. However, the reality, the Hypermotard 950 SP weighs only 392 pounds dry. That truly puts the Hyper in Hypermotard. The remainder of the powertrain is quite standard Ducati stuff. It has a decent, 6-speed consecutive gearbox, and the SP has a quick shifter that takes into account up and down shifting without utilizing the grip. That is something to be thankful for, on the grounds that the grip is super annoying, however more on that later. The suspension is a champion element on the Hypermotard all in all, however particularly so on the SP. For this most up-to-date age of Hypermotard, Ducati made the bicycle both smaller between your legs and a little under an inch shorter and by enlarged tallness than previously, which frees the bicycle up to a totally different class of riders. Already, the Hyper was a transcending bicycle with almost 36 crawls of seat tallness. That made it an uncertain recommendation for shorter people to ride around, likely unfit to put the 2 feet on the ground at a stop. Each inch checks. In spite of it being a marginally shorter bicycle than in earlier years, the Hyper has lost little in the method of leeway, permitting it to be inclined to practically outlandish points. The 950H additionally returns to utilizing a long, level seat. Like a dirt bike, this permits the rider to push ahead and back on the bicycle to help position weight where it's required most. This present bicycle's antecedent, the Hypermotard 821, had a progressively customary road bicycle seat that would in general confine rider development. For an incredible duration, the Hyper has worn tall, wide handlebars for fantastic control and influence, and the 950 is the same. This, alongside the long seat, gives the rider a somewhat odd riding position where you're well forward of where you'd regularly sit on a cruiser. The advantage of this is included footing for the front wheel as a result of better weight circulation. It assists with keeping the front wheel on the ground during hard quickening, as well. The Hypermotard's brakes are ordinary Ducati Passage in that they're sourced from Brembo and they work faultlessly. The front end sports double M4.32 calipers that clip on 320mm rotors. The back uses a solitary caliper arrangement that nibbles into a 245mm circle. The Hyper SP, with regards to convention, rides on 17-inch Marcazzini-produced combination wheels enclosed by clingy Pirelli Diablo Super Corsa tires. Lean touchy anti-lock slowing down is standard as a component of the Ducati safety pack, which additionally incorporates footing control and client-selectable ride modes showed on the bicycle's unmistakable, simple-to-peruse DFT dashboard. Aside from the Hyper's incredible motor, the bicycle's other piece to obstruction must be its suspension. In particular, the SP trims completely movable Öhlins suspenders. The front forks are 48mm in width, implying that they're a lot beefier than you'd regularly find on a street-going bicycle. The Monster 1200S that I looked into not long ago has 43mm forks. For instance, beefy suspension parts mean the Ducati can face a lifetime of tearing damp wheelies and riding over controls. The Hypermotard SP 950 is a major change from the exposed bicycles and experienced bicycles I've been riding of late. I quickly valued the upstanding riding position that left little weight on my wrists. The seat is, as I referenced already, limited and level, which is extraordinary. However, it likewise feels like it was produced using reused church seats, so the Hyper isn't something I'd need to go through an entire day on. Firing the bicycle up, the principal thing that you notice is exactly how damn boisterous it is. Remember that my analyzer has the swamp standard Ducati plant fumes and not the discretionary Terminiani jars, yet it's still uproarious enough to set off a few vehicle alerts in my parking structure. This is not the slightest bit an awful thing, yet don't skip earplugs on Hyper Day. At that point there's the grip, which is hopeless to utilize. The draw on the grasp switch is shockingly overwhelming, which is fine. However, the main problem is the way that the bicycle doesn't prefer to have the grip slipped. This brought about me slowing down the bicycle over and over before making sense of the most ideal approach to utilize it is to fire up the bicycle to 3,000 or 4,000 revolutions per minute, and afterward fundamentally dump the grip, letting the hardware sort things out. Fortunately, the SP's worked-in quick shifter is absolutely extraordinary, and implies that you're not so much utilizing the grasp all that frequently once you're out of go back and forth traffic. Discussing traffic, you'll certainly need to utilize the choke's least forceful setting, urban, so as to ride easily. In sport, the bicycle's choke is ultra forceful and makes for a genuine jerky encounter. All in all, things improve significantly once you're up to speed. The Hyper's extravagant suspension is hardened, yet never unpleasant, and the bicycle's tallness makes perceivability, both for you and for different drivers, mind-blowing. That tallness, combined with the bicycle's uproarious fumes and red paint, implies you're probably not going to go unnoticed anyplace. That obviousness is something to be thankful for in light of the fact that, while riding the Hyper, I wound up needing to continually be in the upper registers of the fire-up go, jumping through vehicles, backing into corners and by and large carrying on like a total inarticulate delinquent. The bicycle urges you to ride like a lunatic, and of the numerous cruisers I've ridden, it's one of the harder ones to attempt to deny that encourage. While this bicycle is astounding once you become more acquainted with it, it's likewise really scaring in manners that I wasn't anticipating. The Hyper has a short wheelbase, which makes it staggeringly deft, yet it likewise implies it doesn't generally feel like the most steady buddy. I in the long run became acclimated to the darty, forceful nature of the Ducati, in any event, developing to like it, however it took some time. The stature makes inclining it over in corners somewhat of a sensational encounter, however it additionally implies there's practically no way of hauling a toe or any piece of the bicycle on the asphalt, which is decent. I do feel like the Hyper could profit by the expansion of a controlling damper. This gadget, simply like it sounds, attempts to back off or hose the movement of the handlebars. Ducati offers an Öhlins unit for a couple $100, however my analyzer didn't have it. Likewise observably missing from my analyzer as well as from the 950 Hypermotard family overall is a gas measure. The tank on the Hyper isn't colossal, at 3.8 gallons, and when matched with Ducati's idealistic 46 mpg mileage rating, you will top off reasonably routinely. So no, Ducati's tall kid isn't a simple, receptive bicycle, regardless of being intended to all the more likely oblige a more extensive assortment of riders. For most of people, something like a monster would almost certainly be better. In any case, for the accomplished rider, the Hypermotard SP950 is completely a mob.